Hi, it's Brian from the London Contemporary School of Piano, and in this video we're going to learn about 7th chords within the minor scale. If you're enjoying the videos on our channel and the way we work at the London Contemporary School of Piano, head over to our website contemporaryschoolofpiano.com where you can request a free resource kit including some of the materials from our YouTube videos. So hopefully you've already seen my video about the 7th chords within the major scale, because things get a little bit more complicated in the minor key. So we're going to start just by playing the 7th chords from A minor 7 going upwards. So we're using the natural minor scale at this point. So they're the exact same chords that you would have in C major. Obviously the chords are now just in a different order. So 1, 4, and 5 will all be minor 7th chords. So again, if you want to do some rootless voicing, just to get to know these 3 chords. One of the best songs as an example of a song in the natural minor key is Ain't No Sunshine, which just moves between chord 1, 4, and 5. Now, a lot of students ask, how do you know when something is in the minor key if you're using the exact same notes and the same chords as the major scale? It's all about the center of gravity and the pull back to that minor chord 1. So we start with A minor and it always goes back to that A minor. And even in the last progression, it always comes back to A minor. So that's how we can say this is in A minor. Now, if we look at the harmonic minor scale, this is going to change things up a bit. So, as the name suggests, the changing note affects the harmony within the minor scale. So if we just play our chords, this is the chord that's going to be affected if we use this sharpened 7th. So just to play the scale, so we can identify that G going to a G sharp. So this affects the chord 5, and it's going to turn it from a minor chord to a major chord. That's going to then give us a dominant 7th chord, which is much stronger going back to the chord 1. So we end up with this leading note going to A minor. So once you start seeing that raised 7th or hearing that raised 7th in a piece, you can start thinking, okay, this is in the harmonic minor key. Now that chord 5 is not the only chord that might be affected by this note. If we take G7, which is the dominant 7th of C, but in the minor context, if you raise that G to G sharp, you're now going to get a diminished 7th chord. So G sharp diminished 7th, which could go back to A minor. So you can use that chord within the context of a minor key and it will sound like it wants to go to A minor. One of the things I enjoy most about teaching with the school is how we can tailor make our courses to suit the individual student. If you head over to our website, you can fill out an application form and tell us a little bit about yourself and your musical journey. We can then book a discovery session for you with one of our coaches who is the best fit for you. So one of the best examples of a song that uses the harmonic minor is Fly Me to the Moon. So it's using just the natural notes of the scale, and then here you use that E7 chord, the dominant 7th, with that G sharp. And that note actually appears in the melody as well. So of course when you hit that note in the melody, it's matched with that dominant 7th chord. What about if we look at the melodic minor scale? So this is where we're going to change the 6th note as well, to have an F sharp and a G sharp. So this would affect a lot of the chords if we did this. So You could have chord 1, chord 2 could now be a minor 7th chord. Even chord 4 you could turn into a dominant 7th chord. 5 would be a dominant 7th chord. And if you wanted, you could even make 6 a half diminished 7th chord. And 7 as well. So you hear these chords in the start of something like Summertime. So now I'm going to do a few chord progressions in the harmonic minor scale. So let's start with 1, 4, 5, 1. Let's do 1, 2, 5, 1. And this is probably where that half diminished 7th chord gets used the most, is this 2, 5, 1 going into a minor. So one of the best melodies to use as an example to show all these 3 different forms of the minor scale is Greensleeves. So I'm going to start by playing it in the natural minor scale, so the melody and the chords will all be within that natural minor scale. That probably sounds strange to your ear because I'm using chord 5 as a minor 7th chord. Even the next section I could stay in the natural minor. So now I'm going to use it using the harmonic minor scale, which is how it's traditionally done. So I'm going to be using that G sharp, my Re 7th, in the melody and in the chord when it appears. You'll see at the end of that melody, I also use that F sharp. If I use the F natural, it's going to sound a little bit odd. So of course the melody doesn't do that. In the last section, I'm going to use the F sharp. And then I could cancel it out again. What if I keep the F sharp in? I could do chord 4 as a dominant 7th and 5. So when you're playing a melody in the minor key, it can really help to know what form of the scale you're using so that you know which 7th chords to put with your melody. If you're enjoying the videos on our channel and the way we work at the London Contemporary School of Piano, head over to our website contemporaryschoolofpiano.com, where you can request a free resource kit including some of the materials from our YouTube videos.